Hey guys, been a while since we spoke. Welcome to the Three Count with Gino. Like I said, I've been dealing with an injury. Pain came back, and I wasn't really wanting to sit down and talk for long about wrestling, or even really do a lot of these videos because it hurt to sit for a bit. It seemed to be way more healed now, and way better. We're gonna do a quick breakdown of what happened on Raw. It was kind of emotional for me because they officially made it official, and I'm pretty sure the end AJ Styles didn't see coming because you could tell by the reaction on his face. Um, mm, and it's kind of Division's curse. We'll talk about that when we get to it. And a heel turn that everyone saw coming on NXT finally happened. It just took about 3 months to pull the trigger. Good little storytelling, good little plant seeds. You figured one person was going to turn because of the way it happened, and they kind of turned the other way, and they made you think another person was going to turn, and eventually the person they thought was going to turn turned, and they have a storyline continuing, even though there's supposed to be an injury involved, and there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff going on in WWE right now, which we're leading into the Elimination Chamber. And I can tell you this for once, I'm actually really excited for WWE PLV for the first time in a long time. Also, WWE is headed to Italy in, I believe, May for, excuse me, the first ever PLE there. And that's where my blood comes from. So for Italy, I'm very stoked. It's very cool they finally get their flowers. Also, if you guys haven't heard, they're also having a hard time selling tickets for WrestleMania. Well, it's in Vegas again, and I've been to Vegas several times. And I can tell you it's very expensive without having a special event there. So we can see why. Um, that being said, let's kick off three count with Gino. Well, Raw started off with Michael Cole and Corey Graves in the ring talking about how they were in Atlanta, and this is going to be a special night for AJ Styles. Immediately interrupted by Gunther. Remember my rating system: gold, silver, bronze. Giving it a gold right away because this Gunther character has been my favorite thing of 2026 on any company. This guy is the modern day career killer. He's the legend killer. He's what Randy Orton was almost 20-ish years ago, except he's doing it better and more vicious. He's actually taking out legends who aren't coming back. He's retired Goldberg. He's retired Cena. He's now recently retired AJ Styles. In fact, AJ Styles was on TV a few times more recently and was the more active of the three of them. Just the fact that he's bringing it up and bragging about it is brilliant. He even talks about how they shouldn't be retiring AJ Styles because it doesn't matter, or tributing AJ Styles because it doesn't matter because AJ Styles is a loser. I'll say this repeated throughout this video: AJ Styles is no argument. AJ Styles is the greatest professional wrestler to ever grace a ring. You've seen that I put up the video tribute video WWE 3 different times. You know it's important when Creed is there, and if you have not heard it, go find the Paul Heyman speech describing AJ Styles. I grew up near Shawn Michaels, and AJ Styles was when I was in my 20s or late teens, early 20s, and I was lucky enough to see him. I was lucky enough to see matches in TNA with AJ Styles and Daniels and Samoa Joe and Frankie Kazarian, and his matches with Abyss and his matches with Kurt Angle and his matches with Christian and when he went to Fortune and all that other stuff. And even when he bet on himself and went to Japan, AJ Styles is, there's no doubt about it, the greatest professional wrestler to ever, yes, man. Uh, he's my, I've liked a lot of wrestlers, and I've liked a lot of wrestlers for different reasons. And like I told my buddies in the wrestling chat, Colin will be watching the pay-per-view with us on Sunday, or Saturday, I mean, there's Bret Hart, and there's AJ Styles, and there's everybody else, in my opinion. And Owen Hart is with that Bret Hart, so they're combined together. So it's Owen Hart, Bret Hart, AJ Styles, everybody else. Shawn Michaels is fourth, in my personal opinion. Um, but yes, like I said, Gunther interrupts Cole and Graves, and then Adam Pearce comes out with security, skirts Gunther out of the arena. So we started off with a brilliant little bit of promoing and more foreshadowing that Gunther's an asshole, and Dragon Lee also comes out and starts attacking Gunther and attacks him more in the back. So I think we're gonna have a Gunther versus Dragon Lee match in a week's time. Um, and this is gonna somehow lead into Dragon Lee, or sorry, Rey Mysterio versus Gunther at Mania, unless Rey Mysterio is more hurt than people think he is. But I don't think it's time yet to say goodbye to Rey Mysterio because Rey Mysterio can still go, and I know people can say AJ Styles wanted to still go, but AJ will explain. I'll explain later why AJ retired because he says it himself in his promo. The main event is an AJ Styles tribute and love him. and it's well deserved. It's in his home state, in his home state of Atlanta. A lot of cool celebrities there. I'll name a few for you. We had Bow Wow, we had Takeoff, sorry, Takeoff's not there. We had, yeah, sorry, one of the Migos. I can't remember which one it was 'cause I can't remember which one's dead. But one of them was there. I think I just downloaded his album yesterday. Album, not elbow. Um, Let me just look quickly because they make good music. I'm not the biggest fan, but they have some good ass songs. I sent it to my brother. One sec here, guys. Offset. Offset was there with Javon Evans. We had Bow Wow there. We had Pusha T and a few others like that there. Internet comedian. We had a few other rappers from Atlanta there. I believe we even had Dwight Howard there. But those are a few of the celebrities we had in the attendance for the AJ Styles tribute. And the whole thing was just loving AJ Styles. After that promo, you go backstage, you see Bobby Roode and Nakamura talking and sharing laughs and having Styles stories. Then we cut to Cody Rhodes, who is staring at Gunther. He's trying to get up after Dragon Lee has beat him a bit. Cody Rhodes hits the ring. He's about to hit a promo. Um, this is going to continue into another goal for me because it kind of teases something, but that tease would eventually turn bad. As the Vision comes out, interrupts Cody Rhodes, and Paul Heyman talks about how Bronson Reed is going to win this triple threat match, head into Elimination Chamber, win Elimination Chamber. Um, Unfortunately, doesn't happen. We'll talk about what happens. We got the original Grande Americano, who I believe is going to be feuding with and having a match with Grande Americano at WrestleMania. It's a whole confusing storyline, but Chad Gable just got masked already. Chad Gable is this generation's Kurt Angle. The dude is absolutely incredible. He's more athletic, I think, than Kurt, but he's got the exact same wrestling style as Angle. Not as charismatic, not as funny as Kurt Angle, but as good in the ring. And Jimmy Sorry, main event Jay. And halfway throughout this match, Bronson Reed, on the most innocuous, weird thing you'll see happen, goes to break up a pin. Toddy's over here in the background. She agrees with me. You heard that sound? He goes to break up a pin, and this is going to get his bronze for me because I hate when people get hurt, especially when you know they're going to do something special. And I thought this was going to be a year for Bronson Reed, even though he's kind of in the background lately. And I'm truly convinced the Vision is cursed, and I think they're going to drop the whole Masked Man storyline now because there's no point. Bronson Reed, sorry, long story short, goes to break up the pin, dives in, and I don't know what happens or how it happens, but he like plants or lands wrong on his arm or something, and he instantly. I texted everyone in my wrestling group, and I said it right out loud because I was just watching with Toddy. He just tore his bicep, and you could tell because everyone thought he was grabbing the shoulder. I was like, nope, that's his arm. He straight up grabbed his arm and looked at it and flexed it. And you could tell he knew he was fucked as soon as he hit the ring because you could see the little close up shot of him and he was covering his face and I'm sure he was crying. He was originally supposed to win that match. He did not, as he had to pivot. Me personally, and I know Jay's over, but Jay's just blown so many opportunities in so many spots lately. I probably would have went out Grande Americano and then had the other Grande Americano screw him over at some point. But like I said, this is a very weird feud because at no point during this match did the imposter Grande Americano or Bravo or Ryo come out and screw over Americano. He just lost clean in the middle of the ring to Jay. So I'm going to give the promos that we had at the beginning of the match and they kind of teasing like Gunther's still this prick. That's all going to get a gold. The match itself was a very good match. That's going to get a gold. Um, the Bronson Reed thing's going to massive bronze down. Some people say different words for it. I'm going to give it a bronze down because it just sucks that somebody's going to get hurt that close to Mania and they're going to be out for, they said, 4 to 6 months. The spiral bicep tears, they said. And for anyone that's ever had a bicep tear, I've never had one myself, but apparently it feels like a blind just rolled up your whole arm and just kind of curled there. So I can't imagine that being enjoyable at all. So speedy recovery of Bronson Reed. That's not true. The last 3 years, he suffered a massive injury in WWE. I was at one of them where 2 years ago he broke both his ankles at Elimination Chamber doing a crazy spot at the top. That's a big man doing the spot he was doing. And today yesterday, he did something as weird as just try and break up a pin and his arm gave out on him. Following that, we had more legends backstage as we had a reunion of the Bullet Club. We had Bachaloa and Tamatonga. Tamatonga. We had the Good Brothers. We had Michin. We had a little bit more teasing of what was going to happen later on in the night because we had Liv Morgan having her announcement coming up in a little bit. We had an AJ Styles tribute video where people just said nothing but nice things about him. Um, we then went backstage to the Judgment Days clubhouse, and Dominic Mysterio was telling Finn and JD that they have to help him next week because he has a title defense against Penta. And Finn just said, "No, where were you guys when I need your help? Nobody was here to help me out. Nobody was. You guys are both injured. I carried this family all by myself." And this Sunday he wants to go one-on-one with CM Punk. Sorry, I forgot to mention CM Punk showed up with a random race car driver. Sorry, guys, just putting my necklace because that's what I do when I kind of forget things to remember. I don't know why the race car driver was there. He had some weird title, the WrestleMania title, I believe they called it. Um, just the whole thing fell blank on me, so I'm gonna give that a Browns. It made no sense to me whatsoever. Following that, we actually did go right into another video package and tribute for AJ Styles, where people were just talking about him and everyone had nothing but good things to say about him. John Cena said not only is he probably the best wrestler to ever live, but he is arguably one of the best human beings he ever met. And you could tell AJ Styles is genuinely a good person. Um, you could tell the dude is just he's dumb because he's a flat earther and stuff like that. I'll make fun of because the earth is definitely not flat. Um, but AJ is he is what people want to grow up to be professional wrestlers. The man is absolutely incredible as a wrestler. There's nobody on the planet I think better than him. He came up with so many cool moves. Spiral tap, the Fosbury flop, phenomenal forearm, the Styles clash, the Styles blitz. If you guys not seen that's everything AJ Styles. A lot of wrestling now is based around what AJ Styles was doing 20 years ago. Um, his storytelling ability, his ability to sell, his offense, his defense, everything. Stone Cold Steve Austin, some people consider the greatest wrestler to ever live, said AJ Styles is the best wrestler on two legs. Take that for what you want. That is the Pearson people said say professional wrestling, say AJ Styles is the greatest. Right after that, we go right to Liv Morgan in a ring. She's still teasing the fact that she got upset by Stephanie, and then she fake apologizes to Stephanie about how she had the easy road and Stephanie had to grind. She fakes that she's going to go take Jade's title, turns around, smashes Stephanie with the microphone, and Stephanie does a great job of selling this. This whole segment's getting gold. She then gets a lung blower and gets kicked against the ropes. I don't know if people saw that, but she was about to fall forward, and Liv just kicked her against the ropes and held her there, hit an oblivion, and stood over her with the title. There was a little bit of teasing going on here because the main event was later on. I'll tell you about why this is kind of a tease. Um, Following that, we had an interaction between Takeoff. Sorry, is it Takeoff or Offset? I always forget. I believe it's Takeoff. Um, yeah, Offset. Takeoff is dead. Offset, John Evans, and the New Day. The New Day are pissed because they said they keep inviting Offset to Raw. He always doesn't acknowledge them or come or nothing like that. But second Javon Evans comes over, he comes in. So we're gonna have the former, probably arguably one of the best, most important, most influential men of color, Kofi Kingston against the future man of color, brightest star, John Evans. I guess if they're gonna call him WWE because this is the future versus the past. Kofi is gonna be in the Hall of Fame one day. I don't care what anyone says. The dude has done everything there is to absolutely do in the WWE, and he's been absolutely brilliant his whole career. Although it is kind of funny, and everyone brings it up how the dude came in with a Jamaican accent and was from Ghana, West Africa, then his accent just disappeared, and there's no other mention of him ever being from Jamaica, and he just instantly became Ghana, West Africa. Yeah, that's Vince for you. But yeah, that was an absolutely brilliant match where we had Offset on one side, and Xavier Woods is legitimately hurt. He had his arm in a sling. Him and Grayson Waller, aka the Masked Man, on the other side. Of course, a lot of interference by the New Day, a lot of crazy flying spots. There's one spot where Offset was dealing with both New Day guys. Kofi gets distracted, turns around, and gets hit by an insane OG cutter. Javon Evans is going to be absolutely brilliant. I don't think he'll ever be world champion because he's too much of a spot monkey. But that dude will be a good, very good mid card champion. His promos are brilliant. He's absolutely hilarious. I think he's athletic as fuck, but I don't know how long it's gonna last. Um, but like I said, overall, it's a great match, great story. I hope it leads into something else, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we get more than New Day. I don't know, but it was a good match for what it was there. I'm going to give it a silver. The whole interaction segment with I hate the fact that celebrities get involved in WWE, but I know why they do it. But the fact that they're doing this to interact with showing you certain parts of Atlanta and certain specific reasons why certain people and things, I'm going to give the interaction the fact that they were given some screen time and gold. Following that, we had Obafemi. Sorry, we had the box, which was sent back to Raw. For those you don't know, what I'm talking about the box is the box that says label to be opened at Elimination Chamber. There's a lot of speculation who it's going to be. It's either Danhausen or Chris Jericho. I'm saying it's Danhausen. I don't think Jericho's actually coming to WWE anymore. I think he's going to stay with AEW. I think there's a his hatred of Triple H is not going to allow him to come to WWE. Um, well, during that argument, the fact that Adam Pearce had it sent to Chicago so him and Nick Aldis could open it together on the Elimination Chamber. We had Obafemi, who I think should be the world champion by the end of this year at some point, or both not double champion by the end of the end of this year at some point, has interaction with Adam Pearce. He's short trying to sell him to be on Raw because there's an intercontinental champ or a free agent. Rusev challenges him, and I love Rusev, but I think Obafemi should absolutely murder Rusev. And it's kind of funny because it segues into another promo. Barry Raw had a lot of promos today. Not a lot of matches, but a lot of promos. And it was Paul Heyman coming out with the Beast Incarnate, talking about how there's three main events at WrestleMania. There's the title matches, and then there's the match with Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is the main event because of the fact that he beat Undertaker and ended the streak. And I think this is absolutely brilliant the way this is done and set up. Sorry, I forgot to mention Rusev, Obafemi, Adam Pearce, Gold. Um, so we're setting up a little tease, and I think we should wait for a couple of weeks so they even showed you the days that Brock's going to be on Raw leading up to WrestleMania. There's certain weeks he's there, certain weeks he's not. Um, I think Rusev should get absolutely mauled by Obafemi following the what's it called? Elimination Chamber. Stay off TV for about a week or two. Keep teasing that somebody's gonna come challenge Brock. Have some random people like either Kip Wilson with his toxic masculinity or Tozawa or Otis come out and Brock just destroys all them, so there's no chance it's gonna be them. And then say a week, 3 weeks before WrestleMania, we get the build and lead up to Oba versus Brock. You get Paul Heyman to book it, like everyone's been saying. And I think Oba should absolutely massacre Brock Lesnar in that match, making him the new beast. And then that makes Brock rethink himself. And we go to SummerSlam with Brock just doubting himself and rethinking himself, and Gunther knowing it's time to strike. You get Gunther versus Brock in a retirement match. And because Brock wants to retire in Minnesota at SummerSlam, Gunther gets another body. So I'll have, in my opinion, Gunther's going to have Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, and John Cena in a year and a half. What a resume. He should be the guy that retires Jericho, but I don't think Jericho's ever going to step back foot in the WWE ring. I could be completely wrong. I'm going to do my predictions and spoilers later on in the week for Elimination Chamber. Maybe on Friday following SmackDown, we'll see. Um, then we have another few tribute videos for AJ Styles, and we have more of his friends show up. We have Kazarian walking backstage. We even see Petey Williams. We see what the fuck is his name? I can't remember. They do it from Team Canada. Bobby Roode. Yes, I said that. Lee Abyss. We see Jeremy Borash. Eric Young is there. Mi Chin is there. There's a lot of people there. Just they're all celebrating, telling AJ story styles and laughing. We get our last match of the night because, like I said, Raw was a lot of promos. We got we got Raquel Rodriguez. Sorry guys, I couldn't think. Versus Io Sky versus Kairi Sane. Elimination Chamber qualifying match, last one, last ever qualifying match because the men's is all filled. Now the women's is about to be full because this is an absolutely brilliant match. There's a lot of good planting of seeds, and the fact that you can tell that Kyrie still wants to be friends with Io, but she knows she can't because she's being controlled by Asuka. There's certain points where Kyrie and Io actually team up together to try and take out Raquel, and Raquel shows her dominance by just dominating them both individually. There's a really, really cool spot where Raquel hit the double Simone drop on both Io and Kyrie. The really, really, really cool diving swanton tornado DDT spot by Io Sky. If you guys have not seen that, go check it out. Very good match, very well paced, very good plotting and places for people to show their strengths and weaknesses in the match. Io actually hits the over the sky moonsault at one point on to Raquel and gets a 1-2. Kyrie stops it, takes out Io with an elbow on the outside. Goes and as Raquel's down again, she goes to hit another one and completely misses, but they act like Raquel got her boots up because Raquel mistimed it. Raquel hits the Takana bomb, and this is why I'm saying there's teasing that there's going to be more turning in the Judgment Day, because not only are JD and Dominic and turn Finn at the chamber. Ooh, Toddy farted. You're right. Sorry, guys. Raquel and Liv are going to fall at some point because Raquel is going to win the Elimination Chamber. Liv is probably going to win the title at Mania. Raquel is not going to win the Elimination Chamber. Sorry, she's in the Elimination Chamber. And after the fact that she's not going to win Chamber, she knows Liv's going to have the title. She's going to turn on Liv. And I think Roxanne's going to come back and turn on Raquel. And we're going to have Dominic Mysterio, Liv, and Raquel as a team. And JD. And I think Finn's eventually going to take the Intercontinental title off of off of Dom. But then we got the Creed video you guys seen. I posted it 3 times on my Instagram. If you haven't, it's for Gino Ferrato on Instagram. And it's probably one of the best tribute videos I've ever seen. Like I said, there's no argument. He is the single greatest professional wrestler this business ever seen. He's your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, like AJ Lee said once. Sorry, there's also a great go-home promo by Becky Lynch about AJ Lee, and there's a great CM Punk promo in there. Both of those are going to get gold for me. If you haven't time, check them out. Go check them out. CM Punk just talks about dealing in what ifs, and Becky Lynch says, "What have you ever done to AJ Lee? All you've ever done is won this butterfly belt." And you say you carried the division. She's like, I made this division. I revolutionized this division with 4 other women. And she's going to retire AJ Lee in her hometown in front of her friends and family. Brilliant promo. Go check it out. I love Unhinged Becky. And then we get to what everyone came for. And I'm not gonna lie, I had tears in my eyes for this because the promo itself was brilliant. The fact that he thanked his wife and his kids for being there, and his one kid, shout out his one kid who couldn't come because unfortunately he was sick. Um, he talked about how he's enjoyed doing what he's been doing for the last 20 years. And he's a small kid from Gainesville, Georgia, which is 40 miles up the road from where they were. And he used to wrestle there. And then he went to TNA and he wrestled. And he shouted out the OGs. He wrestled Jamal Joe, Christopher Daniels, both in AEW, so can't really say their names. He talked about his matches with Ed Kazarian, with Abyss, with a few others. Then he talked about going to Japan and finding some good brothers and finding his love of. Sorry, excuse me, guys. Finding his fun in wrestling because of them. And then he talks about his family. It's just a brilliant promo. And then he says he's a man of his word and he didn't want to leave his and this is where it's key. He didn't want to leave his gear, his gloves, and his gear in Rumble because he wanted to do it where it mattered most in his home. Took off his vest, took off his gloves, and I'm pretty sure there wasn't a dry eye in the house. And at that point, the whole roster came out. You could just everyone was standing there clapping. You could kind of hear Corey Graves crying a little bit on the mic. You could hear him sniffling, trying not to cry. AJ Styles even apologized, saying he may or may not cry. And you think it's all over, and I think this is even a shock to his whole family and himself because you just hear the lights, the lights go out, and you're like, okay, dong, because right away you knew what was happening. Undertaker comes out. Um, and this whole segment's gonna get the goldest of gold pluses. This is get the goldest medal of golden medals, I guess you can say. Um, this thing gets like 5 gold medals because it is absolutely deserved, and nobody's gone to the Hall of Fame this quickly. And like I said, Undertaker comes out and he looks at AJ Styles and he's like, "There's this piece saying I used to say, if you see me coming, it's too late and you're already gone." He's like, "I changed a little bit." He's like, "If you see me now, you know you're already there." And he looks at me and said, AJ, it's my greatest accomplishment achievement to tell you. You're the newest inductee into the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame class. It's him and Stephanie, as far as I know. China should be there. I don't know if she'll ever be there. You guys know my opinion on Owen Hart. Martha Hart and them have to start talking again. I know she's working with AEW now, so I don't think it's ever going to happen again. But Owen Hart, of anyone that's ever been a professional wrestler, besides the guy we can't talk about, um, Chris Benoit, those two should be in the Hall of Fame, and China should be in the Hall of Fame. If Jeff Jarrett's in the Hall of Fame, China's in the Hall of Fame. And that's no disrespect to Jeff Jarrett. But the whole segment itself and the fact that this legitimately, you could tell, shocked AJ Styles because he grabbed Undertaker right away and hugged him, sorry, not hung him. And you could tell his family knew he was coming because they were smiling and shaking their head and saying yes to him. The best part about the whole thing, he runs to the ring, screams, "I'm going to the Hall of Fame," because AJ doesn't swear. Everyone that's talked about AJ says the guy doesn't swear. He's the most polite, best human being you could apparently ever meet. And then the whole crew comes down and everyone hugs him, and you don't see a lot of that because it goes off air. But if you go on the internet, you will find those videos. The best part's when he looks at Abyss. He's like, "Oh my god, Abyss!" and just gives him the biggest hug. Um, just absolutely brilliant. Well done by the WWE. This is a great tribute show. If you have 2-ish hours out of your day, the whole program itself is going to get a gold plus, not just because of the AJ Styles thing, because of all the little seeds and everything that lead into Elimination Chamber, plus everything else coming out of Chamber. Done well. It's a great go-home show. The only unfortunate part is that Bronson Reed, for the second time in 3 years, is going to be missing WrestleMania due to an injury. Fucking sucks for Bronson Reed. I'm a big Bronson Reed guy. Like I said, he is the closest thing we'll ever see to Bam Bam Bigelow. Him and Jacob Fatu. We'll talk about Jacob Fatu later because it's not part of this. But those are my opinion, the two closest things you'll ever see to Bam Bam Bigelow in a professional wrestling ring. If you don't know who Bam Bam Bigelow is, look him up. And Raw, like I said, besides the one bronze for the Bronson Reed incident, absolutely brilliant. It's going to get a gold plus for me, gold medal plus. Orange. And I know, yes, you can say I'm a WWE lifer and whatnot, or I'm a WWE suck, but I like both programs. I just thought it was an absolutely brilliant, well-written show with great segments, and there's certain spots. Nobody looked weak, nobody looked strong. Everyone looked decent. There's no really weakness. Um, but let's get right into NXT. We started off the evening with being known that we're having 4 title matches on the evening. Literally, no 3 of them are probably going to change hands because WWE likes doing that in NXT. Sometimes they change all of them. We knew one wasn't changing for sure, but something was going to happen that one match. But Robert Stone kicked it off and reminded us we're having 4 title matches and a random speed qualifying match that continued the storyline. But we had Dark State versus the Vanity Project, and maybe I'm the only person that doesn't understand this gimmick or know what's going on or what the stable is going to be because I don't know if one of these guys is going to be even part of NXT anymore or if he's going to try and find a loophole to get back to what he needs to get back to. We'll talk about it when we get to the main event. Um, but Vanity Project versus Dark State, very good tag team match, a little bit of back and forth. Then Dark State dominated for a little bit. Vanity Project dominated for a little bit. And I'd say about good 10-ish, 15 minutes into this match. I don't know why it took Tony D'Angelo so long to get involved. He hit some kind of weird, I don't know if it's like that's supposed to be his finishing move or spine buster or something like, but it did not go properly. I don't know if this is why it was so clunky. Darkseid got involved with Jackson Drake, got distracted. He hits this clunky little maneuver onto Shaquan Spear or Shaquan Sugars, whatever his name is, on the ring apron. Vanity Project hit the finishing move, win. Excuse me, guys. I don't know why it's Vanity Project to get the tag team titles. It should have been out of the mud, in my opinion. But Vanity Project are you NXT Tag Team Champions. I guess went it from a heel tag team to a new heel tag team, but this is an annoying heel tag team that people are gonna love to hate, which makes sense. Then we had a little bit of a tease between Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. Lola tried to attack Kalani Jordan. It's going to lead to something later on in the night. Following that, we had like I said, a weird random um speed qualifying tournament match for the women's speed tournament. And this also led to a bit of a storyline as we had Jada Parker get involved in about a minute and a half into the match. We had Jada Parker, who was supposedly supposed to be hurt with a hurt neck, take out Mariah May with her hypnotic, throws her back into the ring, and Thea Hale is going to be going on to the second round of the tournament. She's going to face Fallon Henley for the NXT Women's Speed Championship because she's the champion. She's waiting. That's going to be a Vengeance Day match for whoever wins that that tournament. I believe next week it's going to be Ren Sinclair versus, they haven't announced yet. But we also had Ren Sinclair and Kendall Gray hyping themselves up for a Ren Sinclair's match next week segment. Then we go into another speed match, which is going to be Booker T's Monster, whose name I cannot remember right now, and was the current speed champion, versus Io Flair versus another man from Booker T's promotion. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. If you guys remember, let me know in the comments below. It's a 7-minute match. Absolutely brilliant, great high flying spots, a great story. Jasper Troy, that's the monster's name. Jasper Troy plays a great monster at a certain point when the two smaller guys try and jump up on Jasper and take him down. He destroys both of them for quite a bit, then they take their turns taking him out. There's even teases that they're gonna team up for a little bit and one to go for the pins, like the classic little bit. The sickest part of the whole night is he gets Jasper Troy. This is how the match ends. Jasper Troy gets taken out with like a leg scissors lariat thing. And then as he's laying on the ground, there's a really, really, really cool like frog splash moonsault trick that goes on by the man from Jasper from Booker T's school. I cannot remember his name, unfortunately. Sorry guys, just talking to a couple wrestling buddies. And Elio Flair, the French luchador, is now your NXT Speed Champion. It's a 7-minute match. It's triple threat. So there we go with that. And then we have Clark Connors and Dave Finley's other son, or sorry, Finley's other son, whose name I can't remember, have a random match. And all the sons of the WWE legends and the daughter of a WWE legend are now forming a stable, and it's going to lead to Sid Finley's other son, David Finley, coming in. I believe he may be turning face or heel, but he's going right to NXT. But I believe we're going to have all the Legends kids forming a stable down in NXT. At one point, they were all part of a TNA takeover, and then that just randomly fell apart because that doesn't happen anymore. Um, then we had a promo off between Thea Hale and sorry, not Thea Hale. Um, ay, ay. So not so Ruka. Izzy Dame. God, I can't think right now. I just watched NXT. Izzy Dame and the former NXT champion, women's champion. Let me think. What's her name? Give me 1 second, guys. I can't think. I can tell on the tip of my friggin' tongue too. This is pissing me off. Give me a second, guys. Tracy Chain's got two of them. Tatum Paxley. And then it goes dark after they have a little bit of a promo off. And next week apparently gonna have another sit down interview promo. And then we're gonna head to Vengeance Day. So I'm gonna give the sorry, I forgot to mention I'm gonna give the tag team title match a gold plus. I'm going to give the speed title match a silver speed title match itself. Gonna get a gold plus. The women's speed qualifying tournament match, gonna get silver. Just did nothing for me. It was kind of there. Continued the story, improved the fluke. Well, it didn't really prove a fluke because Thea Hale once again beat Mariah May, aka Blake Monroe, with some sort of not clean finish. So that's going to get a silver for me. The little bit of an interaction between Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame just went to black, kind of did nothing, was just there to be there. So I'm not going to give that a rating. Then we had a backstage interview after the Vanity Project is celebrating their victory against Dark State. We're now looking like we're having a stable form between Ricky Saints, who is not going to the main roster apparently, Vanity Project, and reigning, defending North American champion and one of my personal favorite people. If you guys don't know that, Ethan Page. They're talking about how they're going to soon rule on NXT because Ricky Saints is going to get the title from Joe Henry. We also had a little bit of a chronicle of Joe Henry's story throughout the whole NXT, telling you about how he went from what he was to how he had to change himself up, and he knew he did. And even later in life, he became amateur wrestler and won amateur gold in the Commonwealth of Britain. And how he's now took his last gamble on himself and used the last what he had left of his visa to come to North America and sign with TNA, and it exploded. Um, so we had two title changes. We were heading into our next match, and you could tell right away from the beginning. The whole entrance between Saul and Zarya seemed off. They go to the ring. Um, Fatal Influence came out, and JC Jane was ready. She's about to fight her. Referee's about to raise the belt. So Ruka spears. Ruka gets speared by Zarya. F5. Says she can wrestle. She gets the discus rolling forearm. Loses. Soruka takes her out. Azari takes out Soruka again with another F5 and then a third F5 onto the announce table, and then says, "Steal this old bitch," and gives her a kiss. Or snatch this old bitch, gives her a kiss. So one of the worst kept secrets in WWE. Soruka is now complete babyface and headed to the main roster soon. Zarya is now a heel, and I think she's going to destroy Slow Ruka when they wrestle each other. And she's going to be a monster. She's actually also getting a title shot next week because right after the match, we go backstage and they have an interaction. She tells JC Jane she owes her because without her doing what she did, Slow Ruka would have been champion. She would have beat JC. JC's like, that's okay, I beat Soul. Zarya's like, no, you didn't. I did, and now you owe me. So next week we got Zarya versus JC Jane for the women's title. We're either gonna have Soul, Sally, and Dream be out for a little while, or Soul's gonna cost Zarya their match. They're gonna go to Vengeance Day, and that's where Soul's gonna absolutely get destroyed by Zarya, in my opinion, and head to the main roster. Where apparently she's getting complete character change, including music. So we'll see what happens there. But that whole segment for myself is getting a gold plus plus. I like the fact that they built it and built it and built it, and then teased it, then built it, then teased it, then built it, then finally pulled the trigger. Like everyone's like, "Oh my god, they're best together." The whole time, if you guys saw me on social media, I said that Zarya is turning this right away. Not a chance. This is going along. Zarya's going to turn. The match itself went about 45 seconds. It was absolutely brilliantly laid out. Soul sold everything perfectly. Zola is a good white meat baby face man. Zarya should be a heel. Zarya is a great heel. Um, and then we had another backstage interaction, and Vengeance Day, we're having the Underground come back, as we're going to have Kalani Jordan take on Lola Vice at the conclusion of their feud, as Robert Stone, who's been an absolutely brilliant GM for NXT, even though he's only intern, much better, more charismatic than anything Rockstar could ever have been, plays the part beautifully. Um, he agrees to Lola Vice, and we're going to have an Underground match between, like I said, Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan. I think it's Kalani Jordan set off to the main roster, maybe even Lola Vice is, but either way, it's going to be brilliant. And then we have our main event match where Miles Bourne is apparently snapped and about ready to take out Ethan Page. Great match. Ethan Page is trying to chase the record down, chasing Obafemi and my boy Carmelo Hayes. There's a few good teases in there involved. There's even a point where the Belly Boys and Undertaker's favorite wrestler from the Legend of Future Greats gets involved as they're taking on Vanity Project next week in a tag match. They cancel out each other. There's Ricky Saints tries to get involved, gets canceled out by Joe Hendry. Um, and then there's an exposed turnbuckle. And this is why I think we're gonna do a little bit more teasing. We're gonna have a rematch at Vengeance Day. Ethan Page gets sent into the exposed turnbuckle and he gets hit by Bourne again. Miles Bourne is the champion. That is how NXT goes off air with Miles Bourne as your NXT champion. Um, he's deserved it. He's earned it. The dude's busted his ass for a couple of years there now. And he's also Stephanie McMahon's boyfriend. So we got that. NXT itself, brilliant. Always. NXT is probably my favorite program wrestling on TV. I think every time they do a great show, Shawn Michaels is absolutely brilliant as a booker. Great teases, great storylines going forward. There's even what's going to happen with Zulruka now, because Zarya and Zulruka are no longer together. We're going to see what Zulruka does to Zarya, if it's payback or if she waits the vengeance they don't want a match. Is it going to put the title on Zarya and have JC Jane go to the main roster and have Zarya be that monster champion nobody can beat? Or is Zarya just going to be transitional champion and Zulruka gets the title of Vengeance Day? That being said, guys, I've been talking for quite a while and my back is not bugging me. As you can tell, my voice is going. We'll talk in a few days as we pick our matches and our winners for Elimination Chamber. Should be pretty straightforward, I think. All right. So I'll talk to you guys in a few days. Peace.